that principle is starting to define how millennials run their lives. I'm going to give you an example from a very non-millennial. But I read an interview a while back with Jimmy Stewart, the actor, and he was kind of describing his day where he would come into the studio because he was under contract with the studio, right? That's how they did acting back then. That's why Shirley Temple was not in Wizard of Oz, because the studio making Wizard of Oz could not basically rent her from the studio that owned her rights. So they used the other Dorothy, Judy Garland. So Jimmy Stewart's saying he goes into the studio and he basically does what they have for him to do. If they're filming, he'll work on the set and film. If they're not filming, then he'll do his elocution lessons. He'll do his singing and dancing lessons. He'll do his public appearances. He'll do whatever it is that the studio has for him to do that day. And then at the end of the day, he goes home. Does this sound like anything that you are familiar with acting when you think of actors? Because what's the modern actor? Well, it's either Tom Hanks, who decides, hey, I think I'll make a movie this year, or Liam Neeson, who says, hey, I think I'll make 10 movies this year. But if they don't want to make a movie, they don't. If they want to make a movie, they command a price high enough where they don't have to work for a while. And they can kind of just set their own terms. Do they want a percent of the gross? What do they want up front? All that stuff. But what's the other side of the movie industry? It's the waitress slash bartender slash model slash actress who is trying to cobble together low-paying roles, trying to make it through, and she might do that for 20 years. And that's what happened in Hollywood when the studio system broke down, and it's a modular business now. You go grab this actor here, you grab this actress here, you go grab a film crew, you might even have different pieces of film crew, and you just kind of piece together an organization to make your movie. And the people in that organization are piecing together this job and the next job, and I'm going to do something on the side. And so unless you're at the top, unless you're Tom Hanks or Liam Neeson or Julia Roberts, the collapse of the studio system is not really worked out for you. But if you are in that upper level, it's way better. Tom Hanks has a way better life and control of his life than Jimmy Stewart did, even though they're about the same as far as they're kind of the popularity of their contemporaries. So that idea of modularity, let's apply that to everything. Let's apply that to education. You're not going to go enroll after your junior year, you start touring colleges, your senior year, you enroll, and then you're going to spend 4 years at that college, you're going to get a degree, you're going to decide about graduate school, and you're going to move on. No. Now, while you're in high school, you're deciding, do I take AP and try to test out of some of this stuff? Am I going to go to the community college? Maybe I'll just go to the community college for a couple years, and then I'll go to this school over here, go to this school. Now, I want my diploma to say this, so I'm going to try to finish up at this school over here. And I might do half of it on campus, and I might do half of it online, or I might do half of it in Italy on an exchange program. Piecing together their education. We're doing it with careers. I don't have to go into all that, but the idea of you're not going to work for an employer. You're going to piece together this job and that job. And if you're lucky, that's going to look like a sequential string of full-time jobs. But more and more, it's not even going to look like that. It's going to look like a parallel stream of part-time jobs or just freelance work. And apply that to church. So church used to be this hub of spiritual activity where I'm going to go to this church, and it's gonna kind of define my spiritual journey, define my experience with God because of the people I meet there, the teaching I get there, the worship I experience there. Now, what happens with a modular experience at church? The church is now just a piece. It's not even the hub. It's just a piece of your religious journey, because what I'm really going to do is I'm going to download Andy Stanley's podcast, and I'm going to listen to that every week. And then I'm going to use iTunes or Pandora or whatever the latest one is. I don't know because I don't really listen to a lot of music. And I'm going to get Casting Crowns and Rich Mullins and whoever else. I'm going to piece together my own worship experience. And I'm going to do fellowship at Starbucks, because living in Colorado Springs with 80 nonprofit Christian ministries headquartered in Colorado Springs, you can't walk into a Starbucks without running into people having some kind of Bible study. So I'm going to have my Bible study there. And if I have time, I'll go to church for whatever reason. Maybe it's some kind of experience they're having there. Maybe it's because I do feel some obligation to my church. And then whether I give money to that church, that's a whole nother issue, because I really kind of like to give money directly. So I'm going to give some money to World Vision. I'm going to give some money to Compassion. I'm going to give some money to the Red Cross. I'm going to I'm going to donate some money when I check out at Whole Foods. And so maybe a piece of that will also go to the church. So even the giving has become modular. So what you have is people piecing together the experiences of their lives, church being one of them, but it's not limited to that, as a bunch of Lego blocks. And I read somewhere that the beauty of Lego blocks isn't actually building them. It's that you can take them apart. That's actually that's why Legos are fun. Because Legos are way more fun than models, right? Either way, you're building something. But Legos, you can take it apart and rearrange it when you don't like it. You can start over. That's what the millennials are experiencing in life right now.